you started out literally from the ground up, a couple $100 from Hungary to the States, and worked your way up to now almost 50 locations in your franchise network. Serial entrepreneur within the restoration space.
I'm coming from a very poor family, farmers, tiny little town in south of Budapest. I always knew like something as big is gonna happen in my life. I always very ambitious. Around 2008, I started my own flooring company.
How do we get from the success of a single organization, a single unit in Southern Florida with the two partners that was taken off, to now a franchise that has, 50 locations throughout the entire United States?
You need to be disciplined, and you always try to be the best at your position.
In order for us to solve the biggest problems of the industry, we must walk a mile in the industry's shoes, and what better way than to be involved within the industry?
Absolutely.
Welcome, everybody, to the Albi After Hours podcast, where we talk about propelling the restoration industry forward. My name is Alex Studa. I'm your host, and today I'm excited to bring in an individual that has done amazing, remarkable things within the restoration industry. Started with a couple $100 in his pocket, living the American dream, and then ended up building a restoration empire known as United Water Restoration Group. This is Mr. Zoltan Kurucz. How's it going, Zoltan?
Very good, very good. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming here in our little backyard in beautiful Sedona, Arizona.
Yeah, you can pick a better place.
1,000%. So Zoltan, you started out literally from the ground up. I think a couple $100 from Hungary to the States, and worked your way up to now almost 50 locations in your franchise network. Serial entrepreneur within the restoration space. What are some of the biggest learning lessons that you've kind of gathered throughout this journey?
Man, it's definitely that was a journey, and stay humble. Like, honestly, I'm doing this for 15 years. We started back in 2010. Technically it's like a few guys in the truck, hit the road, market, find the plumbers, find the connections, B2B, and take care of customers. That was our main thing. And till this day, I try to find the same model and try to teach my guys to be on top of that. Customer service is everything to me. If my customer is not happy, the money is not sweet enough for me. So that's a very important point. And you always can make money, but you can not always make a customer happy, and that's just not our model.
I see. Very interesting. And yeah, I mean, the humbleness I could totally feel. I told you earlier today, when you signed up for the Evolve conference, I thought you were a franchisee of UWRG just coming and joining. And we were working out. Joe, you were there 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever, just lifting next to each other. I'm like, so what do you do? What's your story? And then next thing you know, you founded this beautiful organization. So kudos to you. I'd challenge you, and I'd say you're a little too humble. You should share more of your message with the world.
I heard this a couple of times. And people telling me sometimes like I don't give enough credit to myself. I think that's what keep me motivated throughout the days and throughout my journey. I feel like I still have a lot to offer to my team, my people, and my community, my customers. And certainly my newly opened franchisees.
I see. And the other thing that came out of our conversation earlier, you were saying that the key to the success to be able to grow a network of 50 franchisees now, from literally starting from nothing, was finding the people that you could trust to then take on certain tasks and responsibilities. Can you tell me more about like how do you find world-class people? Like I met Bob, for example. He's stellar as your franchise president. He worked for Domino's, and I think you mentioned Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah. So how do you find awesome people, and how do you retain amazing people like him, for example? And Natalia, you mentioned too.
Needle in a haystack. Okay. It's definitely it's a hard task for all of us, especially nowadays. To find the right characters, the right people to the organization. I think Bob is just showed such a good moral, personality, and professionalism to the organization. He believed in our brand from the first place when we met him. He was just right a right fit. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when you put a gloves on and you know this is it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like Bob. And with his background, coming from being a franchisee to start working for the franchisor for both of those major brands,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, it was a no-brainer for us to give him a shot. And then since then, you know, he's very cautious,
Mm-hmm.
and what I like about him too, it's not just like, okay, everybody who knocks on our door, like, okay, now you're gonna be a new franchisee. Here's a couple of territories, and you on your own. He's
Mm-hmm.
very cautious who he's gonna bring in, and also how the team is gonna treat those new
Mm-hmm.
operators.
Nice. And a lot of times, the biggest rebuttal that most of the people listening, myself included, would have from this theory of find amazing people and get out of their way, it's kind of hard to get out of people's ways. Have you ever like encountered a situation or like overcame that struggle of like, man, this is my baby and now I'm hiring all these different people and now I got to trust them with my baby. How do you do that? How do you facilitate
Oh
that?
man, that's I think all of us business owners, like, you know, when you start a business, is that's the hardest parts to, you know, let the steering wheel go, and then somebody
Mm-hmm.
else is steer those vehicles for you. Because, you know, in the beginning, like I said, you know, um, we were just a few guys starting this business. For the first hires, for the office managers, then operations managers, then supervisors, and so on and
Mm-hmm.
so forth. You were all of them
Mm-hmm.
at one point. So you see the good and the bad. You see the pros and the cons on everybody you hire, and you know, you always try to correct them.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing, refer to your book. You know, you always try to have 100% from everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but when you find somebody who's 80% of you, you're already in the right track.
Yeah.
And I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. You know, I always try to push everybody to 100%, but you know,
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's not.
80% done by somebody else is 100% freaking perfect.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate for that quote for
Yeah.
sure.
So back to the early days, we bonded a little bit over, my dad's obviously Romanian, took the journey from communist Romania to the States. It sounds like you started in Hungary. That's where you're born and raised. Can you
Correct.
tell us a little bit more about that journey from Hungary to the States, the early days of UWRG leading up till today's successes?
Yeah, you know, I'm definitely. I'm coming from a very poor family. You know, farmers, tiny little town in south of Budapest,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, I always knew like something is big is gonna happen in my life. I always very ambitious, but unfortunately, I had to go through on certain personal like struggles, if you
Mm-hmm.
if you will, with family. I lost my father at when I was 18,
Wow.
and you know, it was rough
Mm-hmm.
at that time. And you know, my brother and I, we needed to start working to support a family as early age as 14. So we were
Wow.
in job sites, tried to educate ourselves. I finished a technical college, and after that, I had passion for food.
Mm-hmm.
So I turned myself into culinary school. I
Oh, wow.
finished it, and I came as a chef at one point. And after when I finished the military in Hungary, it's
Mm-hmm.
mandatory for everybody.
Yep.
I didn't want to stay. They offer me more positions
Mm-hmm.
and things like that in the military. Just like I had a passion for food,
Mm-hmm.
so I became a chef. And I had a great story on one time I was working in a restaurant, and somebody called me out, and it was a guy from Austria. He
Mm-hmm.
liked my food so much, he invited me to Austria. So I ended up actually working for him for 6 months. That was great. When I left Austria in 1999, I was like, okay, my next journey is gonna be United States. I
Mm-hmm.
really would like to explore, learn, and we were able to get the credentials to come to U.S. straight to Florida. You know, from a four season to right in the
One.
sunny Florida, and stay there for till this day. You know, but
Wow.
when we arrived, like, you know, we don't speak a word of English.
Hmm.
We don't know anybody there technically, and $125 in my pocket, and
Wow.
you know, just start from the ground up, the bottom up, and never give up.
Mm.
Always positive every day. You know, today is the day when we're gonna find something so we can support ourselves.
Mm. What was the
And
first job?
first job, that was actually in construction.
Hmm.
My brother find a job in a car wash for $1.50 an hour,
Wow.
and I find a contractor guy who was involved with foreclosed homes,
Mm-hmm.
bank-owned properties. So you can imagine, those homes when people are leaving, like how they actually leave those properties. So I see all. And he hired me. He paid me $5 an hour. I was very grateful for him to even give me an opportunity. And I was like, as long as I able to get my $5 and I get $45 a day, I able to pay for my gas and buy some food and pay for some room or some rent, I'll be fine. And that's pushed me through for the full year. I learned a lot. I picked up English fairly quick, and I never give up. And that's how we started. Till this day, I'm super appreciative for him. I don't care about how much he paid me. I know he take advantage of that situation at that point, but it give me something which I put always. Anywhere I go, I always put no to myself, and that's kind of like, I know, okay, this is not how I'm gonna treat my people at one point in my life when I'm gonna be a business owner. Because I know I'm gonna be a business owner one day. I know I'm gonna have people, and I'm gonna treat my people right, and that's a huge differentiator for me and my space in my area. Like, we have long-term employees and loyal employees because I treat everybody right, and our company culture is big. Everybody loves working there because what we're providing, as family. We truly call ourselves a family.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you could feel it. Like I told you the story with Tina. Shout out to Tina if she's listening to this podcast. But I was connected with her through the Restoration Rebels for the longest time ever, and I was like, she just online. She was representing the brand. I thought she was an owner or something of United Broader Restoration Group, and super passionate and just absolutely loved it. And again, long tenure. I mean, how long has she been there?
And this space, 15 years. I started in 2010, April 1st.
Wow. So, okay, so you go and you leave this guy who wasn't treating you the best, but gave you the $5 an hour, which is what you were required to live. What'd you do after that?
That was rough. So I started working for this machine shop, and I just hated that. It's a warehouse. It's only me and my brother, and the guy was so. He was a Hungarian guy. He came here with communism, and he brought that mentality in. He don't even allow us to talk, not even a single word.
Wow.
So it was just like a hostile environment. It just was. I always felt like so small. Then one day I was like, I cannot do this, and I was there for a year and a half. He always like one of those person, like, if you leave me, then you have nothing, and then they just talk down on you, and then you start believing, like, okay, that's my journey here. And then one point I was like, I'm done. I don't care what I'm gonna do, but I cannot deal with this anymore. So I quit. I throw the key back. I never get fired, and I never literally really quit from any jobs in my journey in life in US or in Hungary. But this was the time I was like, I need to find something. So I started working for a guy. He offered me $175 a week cleaning bingos. What an interesting job.
What are bingos?
Bingos, like, the people go and then, gamble bingo, like, those.
Cleaning the...
Cleaning the place for people like to play all day long, they have nothing else to do.
Those are legitimate places where people just play
real,
bingo?
yeah.
Huh,
yeah.
Interesting.
So he offered me $175 a week, and this place is open 364 a year. Wow. They only close at Thanksgiving, so you must clean the place. And they smoke, like, it's nasty. Man. So I did that for 2 years, more than 2 years actually. And beside of that, so when I was at the place, we obviously we're not making too much money, so you find some pizza. They order pizza and donuts for these people so they can stay longer to play. And I got those pizzas and, take it with me because I started working in the car wash at 8 to 5. So I put the pizza box with pizzas in the top of the car. Wow. The sun heated it up, so we have like hot food. And after 5 o'clock, I went straight to work in the pizza place, learning how to do pizza delivery. Wow. I have no idea how to read the map. But back in the days, like, you have no GPS, no smartphones, or I delivered so many cold pizza. I'm sorry for everybody who ate my cold pizza at that time, but yeah, after a little while I learned, and the owner find out actually I have a background to work in the kitchen, so he hired me and I started running his business a little while. And
Nice.
till this day, he was struggling. He almost closed the business. He offered me partnership,
Mm.
and I told him, I was like, I don't think that's gonna work for me.
Mm.
And I told him, like, if I open up a restaurant, it's gonna be on my own with all my own terms. I don't want to follow your recipes. You know, you're Sicilian, and you know it's a little bit different. And yeah,
Man,
it's
what a journey so far. I'm like, restoration's coming here. Nope, it's a restaurant and pizza place, bingo shop, so on and so forth.
yeah.
So how'd you get into restoration?
So at one point, 2007, I went back to Hungary. I was like, okay, I need to move back to Hungary. I felt like I need to be there for a little bit. I was 2 months. It's like I can't live here anymore. So, you know, you battling between the two countries, like
Wow.
pros and cons. So I came back and started working for an AC guy, mainly on marinas, and I learned a lot. I love that job actually, really much, and because he just give me probably like around 40, 45 hours a week, but not paying me well. He was at around $9 an hour. So I started working with the in a weekend for a restoration company. They located in Boca Raton. So I started working with them a little bit, but more on the construction side because I had experience on that. And then around 2008, I started my own flooring company. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna start doing a flooring business in here, and then see what's the journey is gonna bring in. And out of the blue, I get a high-rise building in Hollywood, Florida. I got a massive contract. I have no idea how to tackle that, but you know, we did really good on that. Between me and another guy, we just literally did the whole place.
Wow.
It's a lot of work.
Wow.
And I got introduced you to somebody who's actually doing restoration at that time. So he asked me, he's like, "Oh, do you want to work for me?" It's like, I don't think so. I just have a good things going on here. It's like, I pay you $500 a week. I said, definitely not. Like, you know, it's I'm making a little bit more than that now. So I'm interested to actually work with you at that point. So he showed me his van. He had like all these equipment. He says, do you know how to use them? I was like, yeah, I have some ideas. So I started marketing for him on the side, and little by little, actually, I started forming a relationship with him more, and then started working for him. Then his business went on different directions, so I started my own restoration company until Louis and Andrew reached out to me 2000 and technically, so we married with my wife 15 years. We just celebrated 15
Happy
years in thank you, on February 20th. And Andrew, my business partner, reached out to me in January, like maybe even like just early February.
Wow.
And he's like, oh, I want to see you. Like, you know, I know you're doing the restoration. You know, we have good things going on up here in Daytona Beach, Orlando, Jacksonville. So maybe we can sit down. It's like, listen, my mom is here, and I'm getting married on the 20th. I would like to push this into March. He's like, okay, March 1st, I call you, and at 12 o'clock. March 1st, 12 o'clock, he called me. It's like, okay, he's man of his word. We met up in halfway from Daytona and it's actually Vero Beach. We sit down in Cracker Barrels for like 3 hours and talking. I showed him all my certificates at that point. You know, I already got my IRCS certificates. I was like, okay, this is great. So this was March. April 1st, we already opened up United down in South Florida. A month later, when they came, like, I have the warehouse ready. I have pretty much internet, computers, printers, everything is ready. So I remember the day when, you know, I was so anxious to see them. Like, okay, they're coming down today. They're coming down. So they're coming with a massive Mercedes printer, one of those FedEx trucks. Like, you know, they had like an extended roof full of equipments. And they had a small little Chevy van. They handed me the key, closed the warehouse, and boom, hit the road and start marketing.
Wow.
The first month, the first 3 weeks, like, you know, it's just like, when is going to happen? When is going to happen? And a guy called me. His name is Jerry. He's called me out of the blue. He's like, do you remember me? This was Saturday at lunch. Do you remember me? I was like, I'm not sure. And he's like, listen, you just hand me a business card and a street light. He's like, I have one for you. So I went out to the job. And the construction, we estimated at $120,000. And my mold remediation and water mitigation was like over $40,000.
Wow.
The same day, that guy, when I met him, I signed a contract, and he saw the way we work. He said, I'm going to introduce you to all my coworkers. So I literally landed a massive plumbing company. I have 20 service technicians on it, and my
Wow.
journey just started going up. That
Huh.
was
That's crazy. That one relationship, but obviously it took a while to chip away, like years till you got to that point.
correct. Yeah.
Years of being misunderstood till the rocket ship felt
Yes.
like it
Yeah.
finally take
Yeah.
off. Years of going back and forth.
And there's a lot of notes in between, a lot of note to myself,
Mm-hmm.
how to treat people and how to actually work with the customers. And I'm always big on customer service till this
Mm-hmm.
day. If we have a complaint, I tell my team, send me the problems to me. Let
Mm-hmm.
me work on those problems. I turn those problems into money most of the time.
Wow. So how do we get from the success of a single organization, a single unit in Southern Florida with the two partners that was taken off, to now a franchise that has 50 locations throughout the entire United States? How did that happen?
It's an interesting story. So we started, obviously they started up in Daytona Beach, Orlando, Jacksonville. They had like this beautiful triangle, very easy to manage. And me personally, when I started in Broward County, I still till this day, after 15 years, I'm still, my corporate is in Broward County in Pompano
Mhm.
Beach. A year after, when we started the journey there, I opened a location in Port St. Lucie, then Naples, then I opened up another one in Northport, Fort Myers area, and Sarasota, and they doing the same thing up north. So we expanding into the major cities throughout the state of Florida. So one of our employee in Orlando, who was an operations manager, Jason, I was like, listen, my wife got a good opportunity in Houston, and I would like to relocate to Houston. I think that's a great city. I like Florida, but original from New York, so I would like to relocate to Houston. And I was like, okay, great. This is gonna be a big loss for us because you're doing great in here. He's like, yeah, but I would like to carry the brand. I was like, how are we gonna do that? It's not just that easy. Like, hey, here's the brand. Just go out there and do your thing. So we speak to a couple of attorneys, and you guys have a couple of options. Either you partner up, and then you guys are business owners with him, and then it's nothing really crazy that's going on with paperwork. But if you want to have a legit either franchise, or you need to have a license agreement with him. So we decided to go for the hardest route, to go for franchising.
Yeah.
So originally we partnered up with him. We were on the company, and a year after, when we have the FDD formed and all the legal paperwork finalized, then he bought us out from the business, and that was our first franchisee.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, we have one, that's great, and how are we gonna move to the next one and the next one? And that's when journey start with that organization too.
Wow. Really interesting, really cool story. So kind of stumbled into it by taking good care of an employee, so much so that employee wanted to carry the brand on his back, because he could have gone to Houston and worked for a ServPro, or even started his own business. I mean,
Correct.
he was probably well equipped enough to start his own business at that time, but he said, no, I believe in this so much that I'm gonna, I want to carry the brand forward.
100%. Until this day,
Wow.
he's a good franchisee for us in Houston.
That's
Now we have a
awesome.
couple of franchises around him, and what I admire about him too, he is also a great neighboring franchisor. It's of a franchisee. It's not, sometimes in the franchise was like, oh, you crossed my territories and things like that. We had good communication between the franchisees, and then I really like that. Every
That's
location
awesome.
we can speak to like that.
Do you just allow anybody that has money or comes off the street to purchase a UWRG franchise, or?
No, it's more to it. A lot of people can have money, and you can get money from SBA and different financial organizations, but we need to know, like, your heart is really into this business. Like, not necessarily like you need to be a business owner, but your mind has to be there, and then people need to understand, like, it's a lot of work behind it. It's not like it's a 24/7 business, and it's when we say it's a 24/7 business, it really truly is a 24/7 business. And you as an owner, even if you come without experience, you can hire experienced people, but you still need to manage them. And I'm encouraging everybody to learn what we know, so you can feel into anybody's shoes and you can help them through on challenges and process. So to answer the question, no, we don't. We very selective who we bringing in, and I think we can grow probably 3 times faster what we have right now. We are about to 50 franchises throughout the country, a couple of them in Canada, but our focus and Bob's focus to bring the right people, the right characters, so we don't have failing franchises, and obviously we're focusing on support a lot.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and I mean, you could see it. I mean, I see, and we work with a lot of franchises at Albi, and you could see the ones that are there to just grow the territory and superficial, and then you could see the ones that care. So kudos to you on that.
No.
Now, I thought I was going to want to land the plane in one direction, but I think I'm going to go a completely different direction here. And I don't know how much you believe in the concept of belief and mindset, but I feel like, you know, I think you're a prime example to talk about this because you came from a Eastern European background where I think the mindset in general is negatively polluted. That's kind of how, you know, certain people came in power, and you came here and you started from like -0, meaning you didn't speak the language, you didn't know the American customs and such, and worked your way up. And yet there's people that don't have to go through the similar struggles, that don't get to the same point. So what is it about mindset that's necessary for a restoration business or just any business owner to really kick it off?
I think is in generally in on anybody, like you need to be disciplined. Doesn't matter what you do. It can be sport, can be you know, education or a business. Even if just to work for somebody, you need to be disciplined, and you always try to be the best at your position. I think that's something like I have, and I know it's a lot of people have. I always looking for that in people and try to bring it out in people and try to find the right position for the people. And I'm glad in Evolve, like we had a lot of conversation with certain people who actually focusing on that too. Like find the right position for the people who's working for you. Not necessarily like, okay, like you hire somebody for a position and like, oh, that person is not fit, then fire them. No, what else we can actually promote him to or her. And I think that's our job as business owners, to find those small little pros and cons on people and you know, put them into the right place.
Awesome. Discipline. Was there a time where you felt like you were not disciplined, and did you overcome that, and if so, how?
I think we all deal with that every single day. You know, I do in personal journey, I do cold plunge every morning. I'm doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for the past 8 years, and to step on the mat, to even go into the cold water for like 5 to 6 minutes in the morning, it's a journey. You know, you need to have your mind there, like, okay, I'll be disciplined today, I'm gonna go in. And you know, you're always like a little word, like a little voice behind your back is just talking like, don't do it, it's gonna hurt, don't do it. But and don't go to the mat today, you have other things to do. And then you know, it's just you avoid it, like this talking, but you know, you just go straight in and step on the mat and go into the water. And the same thing with work. You know, you have your agenda for the day, for a week, for the month, for a quarter, and you just stick with it. You know.
Yeah, a lot of times as business owners, we want to pick the fun stuff, or, you know, eat just chocolate and not really eat the broccoli. But at the end of the day, the broccoli is what you have to eat to be able to expand and such. So
I teach my guys at the office. I tell them like, okay, so you have the 5 days a week, and then every single day you give yourself 3 difficult tasks. You write it down in a notepad, and that's your agenda for the day. If you're able to achieve the 3 and you're able to get into next day hard task, you're already ahead of the game. If you just achieve that 3, thumbs up for you. If you're able to do only 2, now tomorrow you have, you know, you have to work 125% because that's missing from your agenda. But normally people like to go for the easy stuff and just push the hard stuff in the back. No, you need to work on the hard end first, and then you can go to the easy.
What about of the people, like a lot of times with discipline, it's like it could be easy to get demotivated if you've slipped off. Like a lot of people will slip off 1 to 2 days, and then it'll turn into a mudslide, right? Where you stop for a month or so, and then you catch yourself again. What do you think about resetting? Does that make you weaker, or does that make you stronger?
Absolutely not. So the way I explain this to my people, I always try to come up with analogies for people. So the way I see it, I tell them like, listen, 15 years ago I started this journey, and now you come to my organization, and any business owners technically, you're already, the way I see it is, you know, you in your beginning of your journey, you're at front of a huge forest with big trees. After 10, 15 years, you already have a paved road for
Yep.
them, right?
100%.
So you just let them go on the paved road, and you're gonna see people start wandering off,
Yep.
go into the woods, and some they find different pathways, and they're gonna actually pave those roads, and
Yep.
it's good for you.
Yep.
But your job to sometimes you go after them and just put it back, like, hey,
Yeah.
just go back to this road a little bit. I don't, you know, discipline comes and goes, and you as a person, some people have more drive throughout the days, but it's something like you need to work on it yourself.
Yep.
I cannot make you disciplined.
Mhm.
I can ask, I can teach you, I can try to guide you through on
Mhm.
that, how to be disciplined, but
Yep.
end of the day it's you
Yeah.
who need to be disciplined.
That's awesome. Is there anything we didn't cover that you feel compelled to cover during this podcast?
I definitely I want to give a little more credit for my wife, Lena. Like,
Mm.
she's a big cheerleader for my journey since I started the business. I don't think I give her enough credit. I don't think she even understand like how much help it's her being around and helping me at the house, at my business. And sometimes I just have a bag of negativity, and I put it on her. She's carrying it for me for a little bit. So yeah, definitely it's a major thing for me. And I think one of the major thing in Evolve too, like how you're gonna find balance in between your personal life and your business life. I think that's a crucial point. Like, I see business owners are so focused on the business, and they losing focus on the family, and then eventually they actually losing the family. um, that perfect balance is very, very important. On the franchise side, I wanna just focus on. I mean, not focus. I just wanna, tell a little bit. Like, we start coming up with a new AI program.
I saw that.
Yeah. So our main thing is just to support the franchises as much as possible. The unique thing till this day, we as not just a franchisor, I'm also an operator. So funny you say that. Like, in Evolve, I was in with you guys and working out, and you thought like I'm a franchisee. In my franchise conference, I'm staying with my franchisees. I'm at the table with the franchisees, so I'm acting like a franchisee.
That's awesome.
And I go out as a franchisor or talk about certain things, but in my journey, and I shout out to my business partner Louis too. Like, he's running his own business too, and then every single day we waking up just like any franchisees. We working through on the struggles. We communicate with everybody, and anything works for me, I share that with the group.
Yeah.
And I have great relationship with the franchisees. Every franchisee have my cell number.
Wow.
And I'm asking everybody, please, if you're running into any question, any problems, or anything, you just want to talk to me, like, you have my cell number, call me up.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, is a unique thing on our franchises, like the amount of support we giving back to the franchisees, and the technology and the support.
Wow. That's incredible. And I wanna actually unpack more here, and I'll get we're gonna go in a couple of different directions, but that AI, tell me more about it. So, like, you were saying you've got different bots that specialize in different areas. So one in mold, one in water, one in something else.
Correct. So the four element of the business, the water, fire, mold, smoke.
Yep.
You have different AIs, technicians, or whoever is working with the organization. They can actually download the phone or save the phone number into your phone, and you in a customer's house, and the technician don't know the answer. Just call that 1-800 number, which is gonna connect you to the right person. If you have mold question, you just literally speaking with our AI, and just give you all the right answers to your problems.
So you could ask it like, hey, I've got a room that's this much by this much by this much. How many air movers do I need, or how many air scrubbers do I need?
Yeah, and probably if you're gonna put air movers in the mold job, probably AI is gonna
true.
say like, don't do it.
You shouldn't do
not
it.
But it's absolutely that's the main goal about it. And have an artificial intelligence on our spot. I think it's a great tool.
Interesting. The second thing I want to unpack is, like, a lot of people don't work with their wives super well. What's the key to success there? Because, I mean, it sounds like you guys have an awesome marriage and are also involved in the business in some way, shape, or form together. Any advice there?
She is, I don't tell her what to do. She self-motivated, very disciplined on her own. And, she's doing her job. I let her do her job. I never bossing her around. She's correct me with certain things when I'm not focusing on. So I think we just have like a perfect balance.
Mm.
And after work, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, when we go home, we have a 7 and a 12-year-old. Focus on the family.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
business stays in the business. We leave everything. So the way I explained this to her is like, okay, when we come home, you have this backpack with, United. You just leave it outside by the door, so that, that subject stays outside.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes we cut ourselves, of course, talk about the business, but majority of the time we try to, and personal times, like
Yep.
we are here in beautiful Arizona right now, and then we need to have those me time
Yeah,
with her,
yeah.
and then it's just the bonding is very important.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, restoration brought my dad and I together. We didn't have much of a relationship, but now I feel like every time him and I talk, it's only about work. And my brother David too, like it's a beautiful thing. He's involved in Albi, but a lot of times I catch myself like I'll have to like redress the situation. Be like, hey, how's the girlfriend life? How's the
Yeah.
golf game or whatever? Because we always dive down these rabbit holes of work. Do you have like a trigger word or any sort of way when you notice, hey, we're going down the work route? How do you bring it back?
Probably, we just say boo.
Uh,
Yeah, it's
like scary boo or like
no,
loving
it's just
boo?
boo, stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. We going too far.
Got it.
But yeah, honestly, I admire what you guys did and then done, and then you same thing, like you still in the restoration business while you're actually doing this beautiful thing for the restoration industry. It's a very well needed software. I can be more excited to be part of it,
Thank you.
and I know the organization is really excited to be part of it. Chris is very excited to meet you at the franchise conference
Yeah.
in May.
Yeah, I can't
You're
wait.
gonna be a great speaker, and I can't wait to have the team and other franchises meet you.
Yeah, man.
And I think you
Okay.
guys did great. Like we've been doing this for 15 years, and we're always looking for some different way for technology. Like as you can see that with the AI too, and I think you on the right track. I think it's a very well needed software when other people just developing something, but they don't understand the meat and potatoes of
Yeah.
it. And I think you have that right.
Thank
And
you.
I'm very excited for seeing you on your journey and your whole family.
Thank you. Yeah, I totally relate with what you said. It's like in order for us to solve the biggest problems of the industry, we must walk a mile in the industry's shoes. And what better way than to be involved within the industry?
Absolutely.
And, one thing that I realized early on is like people talk about diversification, right? It's like that's the ultimate investment strategy. And, you've got time, energy, and money to invest, right? And people are like, oh, well, you should put it across a bunch of different asset classes. So if one goes down, the other goes up and such. But then when I study people like Warren Buffett and Jeff Bezos and such, nobody invests in anything that they don't believe they have an unfair competitive advantage in. So it's like, wait a minute. So all this real estate and Bitcoin and stocks and all this other stuff that I'm doing, like, I don't have an unfair competitive advantage. Why don't I just take all of that and put it in what I believe in, which is restoration?
Yeah.
So I'm super happy that, I'm blessed that that idea came to double down on this industry. And I think more people should do it because I think there's nobody better to solve restoration's biggest problems than restorers like ourselves.
100% agreed. 100% agreed. I always looking for some challenges in our end too. Like, okay, what else is out there? Like, it's not invented yet, or something is always is a problem.
Yeah.
So I engineered something. I cannot talk about it yet. I have a patent pending. I engineered something, and I'm manufacturing it in Hungary as we speak.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it in, and I think you guys gonna like it. The restorer is gonna like it because that could change relationship for the better.
That'll be awesome.
And definitely it's a huge help for us, customers, like for headaches, for floods. So I'm very excited for it, and I can't wait to have it and introduce you to that.
Yeah, we'll have to bring you back on the podcast to explain and peel back the curtain on what it is.
Yeah, anytime. I'm enjoying talking to you and your team.
Thanks so much, man. So if somebody out listening to this wants to reach out to you, maybe they have a question for you, or they really like the content and it resonated, where can they find you?
Our website. I'm more than happy to share my phone numbers with anybody.
Awesome.
I'm not afraid. Just don't put me on the spam list because I get so many
Yeah.
spam calls.
Yeah, we definitely won't put your phone number in the YouTube bio. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Social media, can they find you there?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm
Awesome.
on LinkedIn, I'm Facebook, and Instagram, and Lena is obviously it's on the same platforms.
Got it.
If you guys reach out to Tina or Bob,
Yeah.
anybody want to get in touch with me, I'm sure I'm
Awesome.
available to talk to anybody. I'm more
Super
than happy
cool.
to dedicate time for anyone who having any questions.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining me in beautiful Sedona, Arizona.
Thank you for having me.
And, yeah, looking forward to having some good dinner and spending some good times
Yeah.
together here in
Absolutely.
beautiful sunny Arizona.
Yes, I'm with you.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you, brother.